Hi guys, I'm Shelley and welcome to a rather special episode of the Hormone Diaries. We have company. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and for those of you who have yet to decide, may I introduce...
Hello everybody, I am JuiceMyRandomness. I am from Yorkshire, England, and I have a whole mess of videos on my channel.
Throughout this series I have wanted to get the male species perspective on hormones, and I badgered and pleaded and basically just asked nicely, and because Carl is a wonderful human, he has been delightful enough to answer my questions about how periods affect the male of the species, because let's face it, they do. We've also done a video on his channel where he asked me some questions about periods and such, so I will link that here, there, everywhere. So without further ado, we will jump into the video, and here is the wonderful JuiceMyRandomness to answer a couple of my questions. Question 1. What were you taught about periods in school?
So simply, I wasn't taught anything about periods at school. If I was, it's not memorable. Periods was something that wasn't really part of my education at all. But living with women, I sort of got that it wasn't just as simple as you bleed once a month.
Were you taught about why women have them?
Like I said, my education really didn't have anything to do with period. Sexual health or anything like that wasn't on the radar at all. The only people in my life were women, so tampons were around regularly, mood swings, them complaining about their tummies were sore. All of that it became normal to me because the only people that were around me were females.
Were you gender separated for sex and puberty education?
Yes, we were separated. Males were in one room and the females were in the other. I am a strong believer in combining genders when it comes to sexual health talk, or at least giving the same talk to male and females about the other gender's bodies, because I think if they were told, there would be less mystery and less myths created about it, and everyone would just be on the same page. But I don't know why that's been so difficult, because people get squeamish when they talk about the body and they talk about sex, when it's so normal. We all have them.
What specific things were the males taught? Us girls always wondered what happened in the other room.
It was very, very basic. It was when a man meets a woman and they really, really love each other, they have sex. I don't know, it's very frilly. It's like, oh yes, a man and a woman will only have sex when they meet each other, and then they fall in love, and it's like, oh, there's hearts, and then the camera cuts away from the bed. It wasn't helpful at all. There was no same-sex relationship education given, so even I told my mum at the age of 10 that I liked men, so even back then I was like, this isn't very helpful. What? And I was thinking, what if I want to kiss a boy? Can boys have babies together? And all that jazz. There was nothing.
What was your first experience of periods?
My first experience of periods, there wasn't like a definitive moment. It was just normal. My home life, all my friends were female, so growing up as a teenager, it was just spoke about. My mom, my nan, my aunt. So I was around it, but I didn't really understand it or know much about it. So it was this year, 2018, that I was like, right, I am going to understand what periods are. Hence why I'm doing a collaboration with you all about periods.
Did you come from an open household that talked about periods and hormones and the like?
My household was incredibly open. Like I said, told my mum I was gay at 10. That sort of gives you an idea of how open the household was. There was no embarrassment. There was no... I think my mum, nan and aunt, they all grew up together. Obviously, they weren't embarrassed about each other's bodies, and I grew up with them, so there was no awkwardness where they were like, stop, Carl's walking in, stop talking about periods. It's only the older I've got that I'm starting to think, I want to know what's going on with my friends' bodies. I want to understand more, and not just the fact that, oh, they bleed and they have a stomachache. Do you know what I mean? Because I know it's a lot deeper than that.
How does your life change while living with somebody who's experiencing PMS and periods?
In a selfish way, it didn't really affect me, because I knew if they were in a bad mood, leave them alone. I knew if they needed the bathroom for a long period of time, I wasn't going to go bang, 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 let me in. So it was just a case of I was like naturally aware that they need this time, or they're not meaning to be moody or snappy, they're just going through pain. But again, it was as simple as I knew they were in pain. And I may have seen a tampon or a smidge of blood in the toilet, but it was never something that made me go, oh, what is that? It must have just been so openly spoke about, it didn't make me question anything.
Did the media and films influence your thoughts on periods?
Based on media and television, it's just this thing where a woman is wrapped in a blanket holding her stomach saying she needs chocolate. To me, that's all that media has put across. It was more of a comical thing. I always feel like, I need chocolate right now, or I'm on the rag. I feel like the narrative of periods in media is just all about Women bleed and they're grumpy and they've got a stomachache. I don't really find media being very educational. Now, YouTube, on the other hand, is incredibly useful when it comes to periods, because you have females sharing their experiences. You have females going, well, I don't have periods and this is why. And you have females going, this is the worst period of my life. Or some females, yeah, get a bit of a stomachache, but I'm fine. There's just this whole grand scale of different experiences when it comes to periods that I'm like, wow, one period is so not like any other period that's ever happened. It's just very individualised depending on which woman is going through it.
Do you think you or males in general experience your own version of periods, and especially PMS, moods and severe emotions that change depending on your hormones?
Some women have got mad at me for this, but yes, I do believe that men have a lull when it comes to their feelings and emotion once a month. Obviously, we don't have the bloody show or anything like that, but I do feel that our emotions are affected. And I do feel that if you live with a woman that was on her period, you may emotionally sink. But I could be called a liar and I could have women very angry at me, but that's just my experience. When I've lived with females, I do feel like my emotions and my feelings go along with what they're going through. I think puberty is like a whole mess of stuff anyway. Male, female, our bodies are going crazy, our minds are going crazy, our hormones are going crazy, everything is just going crazy. So there's no comparison, there's no judgment. We all go through different things. Growth spurts are painful. Without having experienced the pain that a female goes through, I don't really feel like I can say anything. I'm never going to know. If I could experience it, I promise I would.
And that was all my questions for Carl. Thank you so much for answering them. I appreciate it so much. We have done a video like this over on his channel. As I have said, I have answered his questions, so go and check that out. I will link it here, there, everywhere. It was really interesting, backwards and forwardsing and talking about all these different things. We should be more open about this, and it was genuine pleasure talking to Carl about it, so thank you so much. I would love to get everybody else's thoughts in the comments down below about their take on male and female hormones. Hit me up down below, let's start a discussion. Let's open the floodgates. That was a bad choice of words, but let's open the floodgates and talk about this. Just bring me all the period stuff, basically. I hope you guys are good. Bye.
Bye. This is awkward when it's not footage for you. Oh, it's so cringe.